Well, hey, it's one of these dark sky type of mornings, kind of cold and gloomy out there. And I was thinking about that in context of what Jesus is saying in John chapter 12. He talked about this idea of hating your life. Did he really mean like we look at life like this? It's dark skies and gloomy all the time, kind of like we're Eeyore, one of these, oh, woe is me type pictures? Because that can't make sense, because God also tells us this is the day he's given us, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. Because when Jesus is talking about hating your life, he immediately put it in context and he started talking about eternal life. His point is, you take God out of the picture, you take eternity out of the picture, then yeah, it's dark skies, it's gloomy, it's a life that doesn't make sense, it's a life we're going to hate. And I can illustrate that for you using two examples. Example number one, yours truly, me. I'll take you back to a day not like this at all. June 1991, a gorgeous summer day in La Jolla, California, and I had received this. My diploma as Dr. Andy Laurie, graduating med school, and you would think it would be a wonderful, incredible time, that life was going to make sense. I'm finally made it. I'm Dr. Andy. All that work, everything I put into it is going to kind of start paying off now. And yet, guys, I was miserable. Why? Because at that time, I did not have God and I did not have eternity. I bought into the unscientific lie of evolution that says we're nothing but a bunch of evolved accidents. And I remember all I can think of at that time is, what's the point? I'll get my 30 to 40 years to practice being Dr. Andy Laurie, then I'll retire, shortly afterwards I'll die, and like an accident, I will simply be gone forever. None of it makes sense. Whatever I did and accomplished didn't matter. Didn't make sense. I was miserable. Dark skies. Hated life. Let me give you example number two. Guy named Solomon. If you look at the book of Ecclesiastes, it was at a time in Solomon's life when he decided he was going to get rid of God, get rid of eternity, and he was going to try to make sense of life without God, without eternity, and he went for it. He looked at money, power, fame, achievements, accomplishments, partying to the extreme, and each time he came back to, remember the phrase? Meaningless, meaningless. Guys, none of it made sense without God, because he realized he'd be dead and gone. None of it mattered. And finally, came to the end of the book of Ecclesiastes, and I want you to hear what he said, because it makes a whole bunch of sense here. He said in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 and 14, he said, the conclusion, when everything has been heard, is fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. For God will bring every act to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether good or evil. Guys, his point is this. Take God out of the picture, take eternity out of the picture, none of this makes sense, and we indeed will have that dark sky, gloomy life that we're going to hate. So guys, let's learn a lesson. Let's learn a lesson first and foremost from what Jesus is saying. Learn a lesson from my past. Learn a lesson from Solomon and say, you know what? God is real. God is true. So let's fear him, honor him, respect him, and always remember our amazing God and the amazing thing he did for us, so that someday, guys, our skies will be eternally blue, and that makes total sense.